right, Doug, thank you so much. So by one estimate, the global electric motor market size was valued at more than $106 billion. That was in 2020. It's expected, Tim, to reach double to more than $207 billion by 2030.
Well, the question is why? The electric motor market is growing due to an increase in demand for superior machine control when it comes to automotive cars, which is fueled by the high efficiency of AC synchronous motors.
We're getting technical. We do a lot of engineering today, I feel like.
It runs in your blood.
It does. Let's get more. We've got Brian Casey, CEO at ECM, a Needham, Massachusetts-based startup. He joins us via Zoom from there. Brian, good to have you here on Bloomberg BusinessWeek. Tell us about your company a little bit more.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks, Carol. Thanks, Tim, for having us. Happy Friday.
Yes.
So the company is a software and technology company, and our software allows our clients and customers to print electric motors, in essence, print stators, and reduce the weight by a factor of like anywhere from 5 to 10x.
Brian, for the non-technical audience, explain
Yeah, sure.
how you can print that, the inputs and the output there. I mean, I've seen 3D printing in action, but tell us how this works.
So I think the best part about the business, or the part that's most disruptive, is that we're taking advantage of existing proven manufacturing capabilities in printed circuit boards that are ubiquitous throughout the world. So our software takes discrete inputs, like you were talking about electric motors, and how much torque do you need, how much power do you need, how much rotation speed do you need. Our software takes all those data points and converts that into a design for an electric stator that's used in these axial flux machines, and then that stator can be printed anywhere in the world. So in essence, we're allowing our clients to become their own motor OEMs.
Right. So that's interesting. So any kind of electric motor?
Yeah, our topology acts and behaves like a brushless DC motor. The classification is called an axial flux air core machine, and long story short, it means we have superior torque and more power in a much smaller footprint. So we have wide applicability. We've done projects, everything from sporting fishing reels and haptics to missile guidance systems for the military, up to including large air movement motors for HVAC companies.
Yeah, so talk about sort of the range of what you can create and the size and how it really runs the gamut.
Sure, thank you. So I think that's, again, the power of software, right? That's really the kind of aha awakening moment is, as we've engaged with clients, it's made us kind of stretch the abilities of the software, and put all those, what I would call end-use applications into the software and address what I would call different kinds of applications. So we've built everything from the size of a quarter, which is only a few watts, to something that's probably the size of a large pizza that's up to 20, 30 horsepower. So it's a pretty wide range. And I know you guys had opened up with some of the macro level metrics on electric motors, and as a result of what I would call automation, electrification. And the majority of those motors that we see out in the marketplace are 1 horsepower or lower. But we are applicable in larger motors as well.
So, the notes that you shared with our producer, that this is akin to what in terms of, this is like the chip boom of the 90s? This is how you see it?
Yeah, great question. Similar to how Intel is to the computer industry, we're not a motor company, but our software allows people to put a special kind of chip in the motor, really kind of where all the energy is happening within the motor, which is the stator environment. So our software allows users to really hone in their design and grab some superior efficiency and performance for their applications.
Forgive me. So talk about the trajectory. So who are you working with, testing it out with? Right, because if your platform, I'm assuming others want to work and kind of go off and create their motor. So give us an idea of where you are in that process.
Yeah, so just give a couple of anecdotal stories. Like we had a company called Noto Film, They make almost what are called drive-by-wire, fly-by-wire for cinematographers that basically allows them to control the camera. And they needed something that had superior motion and superior pointing characteristics. And they were able to integrate that into their new product, what they call Max Wheel. And they were able to turn that around in just a few months. So that's one client on one end. And then we have large military clients that are using the software to create motors for unmanned underwater vehicles, gimbal guidance systems, propulsion systems. Then we have some clients that are using it for robotics and integration within robotics.
But I mean, are EV cars, are they going to come to you potentially? Or you hope?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question. I think there's a lot of money and people have thrown a lot of design money at the EV market. Our technology is applicable and could be applicable, but you have people like Yasa Motors and switch reluctance people that have put in hundreds of millions of dollars. So honestly, I think it would be a distraction because we're having so much success and kind of traction with all of our customers now. I mean, if someone came to us and said like, hey, we want to use this technology for primary EV, we'd have to probably spin that out or spin some resources out to dedicate that technology towards that application. But we are doing e-mobility for electric scooters, electric motorcycles, what I would call smaller class e-mobility.
A big part of this conversation has to do with how these motors are powered. And Carol and I have talked a lot about battery technology, and we certainly know that these EV companies that are actually building EVs are increasingly trying to sort of have the battery advantage. How do you think about the way that these things are powered and different materials that could end up going into batteries versus where we are today?
Yeah, I mean the battery battle, no pun intended, is ongoing, and how we contribute to that or kind of support that is our technology allows the designers or the innovators to dial in exactly the power and the torque that they need for an application. So there's no waste. One of what I would call handcuffs that users and engineers have is they're confined with industry standards, and they'll purchase a motor or design an application around a catalog of motors. Our software kind of breaks that paradigm and gives the engineers and innovators an infinite amount of choices so they can dial in exactly what they need, and then ultimately that leads to overall system efficiency and longer battery life. So we'll contribute to the battery dilemma by improving overall system efficiency.
Just got about a minute or so left here, Brian. How much has your business grown in the last, I don't know, what's the right time frame? Because I'm not quite sure in terms of your development, but in the last year or so, or in the last 6 months?
Carol, yeah, we've grown, we've doubled year over year the last 3 years, and we're expecting the same, if not better, for this year. So I think when you call ourselves a startup, we're like the 11-year-old kid at the kids' table at the holiday dinners.
We can all relate to that.
I still sit at the kids' table.
The kids' table is always the most fun, to be quite honest.
It's always the most fun. But I mean, startup is like, we're flying below the radar against, some of the big motor OEMs and other big companies out there. But, we have a lot of tigers by the tail, and it's fun. It's really fun.
When do you get to be the size of one of those competitors who sits at the adult table?
It's really adoption and evangelization, and we're starting to see, I would say, more inbound overtures. I mean, just last week we had 2 motor OEMs visit us from India. We had a group from Japan 2 weeks ago, and now we have some European people. So, and that's really, I think, what was even eye-opening to myself is that what software allows you to do, or a SaaS platform, allows someone in Taiwan or someone in Paris to have access to the same technology. And that's pretty compelling.
We were talking about it earlier when it comes to the blockchain. That's exactly what we're talking about. Brian Casey, thank you so much. Chief Executive Officer of ECM, joining us via Zoom from Needham, Massachusetts, right here on Bloomberg BusinessWeek.
Let's get to a word of